Call to order the council meeting for December 6, 2018. We'll start with any special intentions? Sorry, George, you go first. Press your button so I can give you. Okay.
Me?
No, he's got it first. Okay. Go ahead and press your button so I can get you next.
I asked for a special intention a couple of weeks ago. A 14-year-old little girl had a brain tumor, and the special intentions worked. They were able to go in, take part of her brain out that's doesn't pertain to anything, got 100% of the cancer out. So I just want to thank everyone for the special intentions for Rachel Bergeron.
I would like to ask everyone for their prayers for two ladies who have lived in the city of Kenner for many, many years, have raised their families and even their grandchildren and relatives. The first is Miss Ethel Henderson, who's gone on to glory a couple of days ago, and also Miss Elnora Robinson, who is the mother of Justice of the Peace Roscoe Lewis. I ask you for their prayers and their family prayers. Thank you.
We have another former, unfortunately, city employee that passed away, and I'm going to yield to our city attorney since he worked in her department.
Mr. Howie Peters passed away on December 3rd. He had cancer. He battled it for quite a few months. He was a prosecutor part-time in Mayor's Court. He handled mostly domestic violence cases, and he was also a prosecutor over in Gretna and in St. Charles Parish. He was a great guy, and he'll be missed.
Yes, I knew Howie many years from his other duties before he came here. Seeing nobody else, would Councilwoman McKinney please lead us in prayer?
Yes, please bow your heads. Lord, thank you for this day and the opportunity to come together to make decisions for our community and work together for the best of Kenner. In this day, please give us direction, fortitude, and grace to deal with the challenges that may lay ahead. May we seek your guidance and work steadfastly in your name. Amen.
Councilman Brannigan, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
In accordance with Council Resolution Number B14550, please be advised that all cellular telephones, pagers, beepers, and other devices of this nature must be deactivated or silenced throughout the council meeting. Under resolutions, motions, and other items from the floor, Mr. Chairman, I've received a request to add item 16I, an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with Duplanche, Ratman, Hogan, and Mayer, LLP, to provide audit services in accordance with Section 2.28 of the City of Kenner Home Rule Charter.
Anybody from the audience wish to discuss this? Seeing none, moved by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilman Wilmot. Council members, please vote.
Mr. President, motion passes 7-0. Under the consent agenda this evening, we have item 1, approval of minutes, the council meeting of November 16, 2018. Item 2 is approval of alcoholic beverage permit applications. We have none. Item 3 is approval of bingo and public gathering applications. Item 3A is application number 2131-18, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on December 7th and 8th, 2018, and December 22nd and 23rd, 2018, from noon to 4 p.m. for the purpose of a Christmas Village craft fair at Kenner City Park. Item 3B is application number 2132-18, the City of Kenner to hold a public gathering on Saturday and Sunday from January 5th, 2019 to December 31st, 2019, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the purpose of a farmer's market at LaSalle's Landing in Rivertown. Item 3C is application number 2133-18, Wings Snack Express 2, to hold a public gathering on December 15th, 2018, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for a Christmas toy giveaway at 2009 Williams Boulevard in Kenner, Louisiana. Item 4 is correspondence, reports from the mayor, CAO, or department heads. Item 4A, at the request of the administration, a report from Mayor Zahn.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Council Chairman. We've had a busy weekend this past weekend with opening Christmas from River to the Lake. Tonight in Rivertown, they're back on from 6 to 9 p.m. this evening. Rivertown is going to have a group every Thursday performing out there, every Thursday except the Thursday after Christmas in December. Just some of the groups that are going to be out there, and I'm sorry if I don't mention everybody: Our Lady of Perpetual Help, Rising Star Choir, Oakland Baptist Church, Pilgrim Baptist Church Choir, Riverdale Middle School Choir, and there's going to be also a holiday laser show inside the planetarium. If you have not visited Rivertown in District 1, something that Greg Carroll has taken on and really done a very good job with, along with the Friends of Rivertown, Mark Glorioso in General Services, along with all the General Services employees, to make that area look really, really nice. So I want to thank Councilman Carroll for doing that. He's had 14 vendors out there, most of the, well, just this past weekend, but again, also tonight, food and craft booths. It's a lot of things to do. And if you just want to just walk around and look at it, it's beautiful. On the other end of Kenner, Councilman Brennan and a good number of you all have contributed, I think most of the council has contributed to Kenner City Park's light display. So I want to thank Councilman Brennan, because it's in District 5 at Kenner City Park, along with all the rest of the council, for coming out this past weekend. I know it was a really nasty night. Councilman Carroll lucked out and had the best night of the weekend on Saturday night, but it was warm both nights, but it was nasty and wet on Friday night. And we have a lot of things out there. We have the ice skating rink. We're having breakfast with Santa. I think we did have one this past weekend. We have another one coming up. We have a pizza party coming up with the Grinch. There are a lot of things to do out there, and the ice skating rink and the vendors. There will be something on this December 16th, which will be snowy night, along with the Top Cats, something that none of us want to miss. I think it starts around 5 or 6. Please, these are things for the people of Kenner to see. As you see, Williams Boulevard is decorated with Christmas lights. Chateau is. Joe Yenny, Loyola, and go from the river to the lake. Everybody's excited about Christmas. So please come out there and see what's going on for the city of Kenner. Again, in District 5, we had a code sweep with our code director, Mr. James Mohammed, along with the help of Councilman Brennan's office. We did a code sweep in the area of 3501 to 3677 blocks of Tulane Drive, 3,500 blocks to 3,600 blocks of West Louisiana State, all in District 5. 33 violations were found in that area, and number of violations issued was 13, a court summons for 1. That is our code department, all the men and ladies, and the men and ladies of the code department, along with James Mohammed and Molly McGinnis, who serves two roles there, assistant planning director and also assistant code director, making sure that we keep things clean, which I guess leads to the next thing that I'm very, very happy to announce that we've had. Kenner has gotten 2 good little, marks lately. Forbes has named Kenner the top place to retire in the state. Kenner has been praised because it has affordable homes, prices, low crime rate, and a good air quality. I guess right now air quality is really a good thing when you see what's going on in other parts of the parish. So I guess our air quality is pretty good. This is a tremendous honor. We're very excited to have this. But added to that is SafeWise.com has listed Kenner as one of the safest cities in the state. And since every city on the list is much smaller than Kenner, that makes us the safest large city in Louisiana. That's really, really good. But, I talked about our code department, of course, the work that you all do, the administration, but let's not forget the work that our chief of police, Mike Glazer, does, along with the men and women of the Kenner Police Department, because we're talking about safety here. So this is really, really a good thing with this SafeWise.com, and also Forbes has honored Kenner. And you hear me say this all the time, and we're always in District 2 cutting ribbons. I know we are before you say that, Councilman Segura. But we have been cutting ribbons throughout this city for the last 2 years. I think we're well over 45 ribbon cuts That's 45 new businesses that we've actually went and cut the ribbons. But then you have the 500 occupational licenses that have been applied for. Not everybody wants a ribbon cutting. Not everybody's working at a specific location. They might be working out of their home. These are the things that we're moving forward with. I do see a change in Kenner. We went to go cut a ribbon on a business that's been there at Cookie Cake Factory 2 or 3 days ago. They've been there, but they did a remodel, so they wanted to finally do their ribbon cutting. But if you see, El Paso Restaurant has their name on the door already. They're coming to that, was it the Marketplace? The Marketplace on West Esplanade. You know, you always hear people say there's no place to eat in Kenner. Well, I disagree because I think we do have a lot of places to eat, but now we're getting more. And I believe there's a salad station that's coming at the other peak of that shopping center. We're having a lot of things going on. Those are just a few of the things I want to say because I think these things are noticed by these groups and they're looking at that. It's the work of this administration, our chief, of course, this council that's making things work. Y'all have opened these council meetings up to numerous groups now on a Friday. That's making a difference. Every place I go, I'm hearing about, this is great on a Friday morning. We've had, what, 2 of them in 2 different schools. They've sat up there with you all. We have a retirement home that has come those 2 times. I believe at least 1 retirement home.
Both.
You know,
One home
I'll-
both times.
I
One
look
home
behind
both
us right now, I don't see any difference at an hour later, which I'm not complaining about. But if I look behind us on a Friday morning, I see a big difference. And the reason I'm pulling that, I'm bringing that up, is because all these things are working together and we're getting noticed. So congratulations to this council on doing that also. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor. And reference to the Forbes report as the best retirement place, I'm sure Councilman Hayes and myself would agree. We've already retired here. So,
Yeah, remember, we don't know how that works, Christy and I, so is that how it works with the card? Greg, too. I'm gonna throw Greg in there.
there you go. And just another quick comment too on your, I today arranged and made the final arrangements at our next council meeting, which will be on the 21st at 11 o'clock. We will have the Bonneville High School leadership class. So they are coming. All right, any other comments? Thank you.
That will conclude the consent agenda this evening.
Motion by Councilman Wilmot, seconded by Councilman Brannigan. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Under the public appearance agenda this evening, we have item 9, public hearings for final passage. Item 9A is a public hearing regarding summary ordinance number 12,448, an ordinance amending Chapter 8, Article 2 of the Kenner Code of Ordinances to impose a fee for fire inspection services.
Motion by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilmember Hayes to open public hearing. Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
We're now in a public hearing to discuss this ordinance. Anybody from the audience? Mr. Teff?
720 West Loyola Drive here in Kenner. I just want to bring up that this fee that's being done through the Kenner Fire Department for the inspection. It's my understanding that there is no inspection in Jefferson Parish, and there's no inspection fee in New Orleans. And to me, by leveling all these different fees, as we did for our children to play at the parks, all we keep doing is saying we're going to be adding fees to supplement whatever it is that our agenda is wanting to supplement. The thing that we need to think about is the businesses out there, because they're the ones that's footing the bill for these fees. Now, it may not sound like a lot, but you know, if you're a small business owner and you're trying to make ends meet, it does make a difference. But more importantly, new businesses moving in. You know, if you was to tell them, well, we've got a fee for this, we're going to have a fee for that, you're going to have a fee for this, I don't think the businesses will be too happy with that. And then I know we got this other fee, or the cameras that's coming up on the next council, you know, for to be looked at on the next council meeting. Again, it's just another looks like fees are being charged. And I don't want, I hate to use the term, but it just looks like the city's looking for ways to make extra revenue. And they're doing it off the backs of either the residents or the businesses. It's just a perception, because if you keep adding fees, you're just adding more expense. So I caution y'all to vote against this ordinance. If we've been doing it for free, I think we should continue to do it free. I think what we should, if necessary, what we should be doing is looking at, if we have all this revenue coming in that because of businesses that we're gaining here in Kenner, maybe some of that revenue can be kind of divided up amongst some of these departments, like the Kenner Fire Department, Kenner Police Department, and I'll even go so far as to say even code enforcement. Because to me, those are the areas that, in my eyes, that we should be paying some attention to, because that makes our quality of life here in Kenner. That's all I have to say about that. Any questions or
Thank you.
opinions or?
Well, we'll discuss it when we get to our point, but this is the public hearing portion.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 46 years. I am, too, opposed to any new fees. I would like to hear from the fire chief. I would like to know what his budget is, and I'd also like to know if his department is fully funded, and what these fees would be applied to if you all go ahead and amend the charter and pass these fees. That's all I have. Anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, motion by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilman Hayes to close public hearing. Councilman,
I'm going to ask the fire chief to come up, but
I was going to.
you're going to do it after the public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0 to close your hearing.
All right, again, motion by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilman Hayes. We are now, yes, at this point, we will invite the chief to come up if he's going to be explaining what the purpose of this fee is for and the need for it. We'll let our fire chief explain, and then we'll have questions.
The purpose of the fee is to pay for new hire, to hire new inspectors. We are obligated by state of Louisiana law to inspect every business in the city. Currently, we aren't meeting that because I currently only have one inspector, and we're not meeting the need of inspecting every building in the city. So this fee, in essence, is going to pay for the hire of 3 new inspectors to where I can start inspecting every business within the city limits.
Chief, what would be the benefit of inspecting all of these buildings?
One, to where it's good for the business. It's make sure that they're up to fire code. It's good for the citizens, for the safety, and it's good for prevention. Our number one goal is we don't want fires. We want to prevent fires, and this is a really good step to prevent fires within businesses within the city limits. Every municipality, every parish in the state is required to do this. They're paying for it one way or the other. They're either paying it through a millage, they're either paying it through some type of parcel fee, they're paying some type of fee. This is being paid for. This was the option that thought was the best way. Currently, just to compare Jefferson Parish, East Bank Consolidated, they have 25 mills. That's how they pay for the inspections. Currently, I don't have 25 mills, so this was a fee that we put up to. We thought was the best way to hire some new inspectors.
And as you said, if the parish does it with a 25 mil, which every homeowner, Mr. Al, then pays, this fee is only paid by the businesses that you inspect?
Correct, because we opted that we weren't going to tax or put a fee on the resident. We're going to put it on the business that we're paying to inspect. So in essence, this fee is paying for the inspection that we're required to do by state law.
And how does the ability to do these inspections go in relation to the city's rating of your department for fire insurance?
The way with the new schedule, PAL, the Rating Insurance Bureau, they came up, they're emphasizing a lot more on fire prevention, to where we're trying to meet that need and step up our game as far as prevention. So we're matching what the state's coming back and telling us what we need to do. Plus, I mean, there's nothing, prevention's not, suppression's number one, but prevention's right there with it. Because the more fires we can prevent, the less fires we need to send our guys into.
Well, I think we had this discussion earlier, but if you are doing these inspections to the level that they need to be done, the fire rating board would give you more points toward the fire rating, and we would have ultimately reached that pinnacle of number one, which then lowers fire insurance rates?
That's correct. This will definitely help us getting to achieve that one.
Okay, so again, having these inspectors and paid for by the businesses that they're inspecting would help everybody, homeowner as well as businesses, on their homeowner's insurance, which fire insurance is included in there.
Correct.
Okay. Councilman Brannigan, you.
Ryan, isn't it, it's my understanding that the state has pushed this down the line to the city's fire department, and these inspections, they're trying to do less inspections. Is that correct?
Correct. The state is required to do certain inspections, daycares, different things like that. That's more geared. That's what the state does, and then the businesses, they kind of fall on the cities or the parishes, to where that the burden falls on us.
Okay. And the fee's in line with the state fee, too?
Right. The state, it's the same exact fee that the state charges. The state charges $30 per inspection, and that's what we mimic, the $30 fee.
And the goal is to get the fire rating to a 1, and everyone will save on their fire insurance premiums.
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor Zahn?
One other thing is that the millages was brought up. I think he said that, Jefferson Parish pays 25 mills. I think one of the comments was the parish is not charging this. They don't have to. They're paying, as a Jefferson Parish unincorporated resident, you're paying the 25 mills whether you have a business or not, okay? We only collect 7.6 mills for the fire department, correct?
Yes.
So they're getting 25 mills for their fire department, and we're getting a lot less than that. So that's why the fees come into play. So when the comments made that the parish doesn't do it, they don't need to. 25 mills must be nice. We're not here asking for every Kenner resident to pay for this, though.
Yeah, we're not looking to put a millage proposal out
Correct.
there
Because
where everybody
millage-
would pay.
A millage proposal would have everyone paying. Most of you all do not have a business in the city of Kenner. You'd be paying for it.
Right. Okay. Councilman Wilmot?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few questions in just regards, just actually recapping a lot of this that you've already probably covered some of it, but I'm going to ask them again just for clarification purposes. Who's going to be paying these fees?
The businesses that we inspect.
And which businesses are those going to be? I mean, is it going to be all businesses or just some of them? Are there any particular ones?
We'll inspect every business unless that business can provide a copy of an inspection by a state inspector or a private inspector.
Okay, and how much are the fees that are going to be requested?
On my end?
Yes.
$30. $30 an inspection.
That first.
Okay. Right now, it's $30, though, as the legislation stands, okay.
No.
That's, okay. We'll cover that in a minute. Okay, thank you. How many inspectors will this pay for? Now, I know you mentioned it, but I want to hear it again.
This will be the beginning stages of hiring. The goal is to hire 3 inspectors, 3 additional inspectors.
And having 3 inspectors, will that allow you to reach your inspection goals? Do you expect it to, or come close?
I think we'll come close, or we'll you know, we'll reassess once they're in to find out how many they can do a day. But yes, this is the beginning stages. Hopefully 3 will be enough. We have a lot of businesses in the city. We just have to see how many inspections they can do in a day.
And overall, the overall goal for this and the basis for this, I presume, is for fire safety and prevention, correct?
Correct. Fire prevention. That's what the goal is for this, is to make the businesses safer, and in turn makes the citizens safer going into safe businesses.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd like to first thank Mr. Teff and Mr. Morella as it relates to their comments and concerns, because it is important. It is important that the comments that you made, that we consider that, because the city of Kenner has always been a destination, in my opinion, for people who lived outside of the city of Kenner. So we never want to do anything that will stop people from wanting to come to the city of Kenner, nor would we as a council and the mayor and administration would want to do things to say that we will never do it. Because I think when you put yourself in a box and say, I will never do it, I don't think you're being fair to the people that live here, to the businesses, to the men and women that work here. You know, there are going to be fees coming, maybe additional ones, and you know, myself, I have taken positions on some and to be against, but there are going to be some that I feel that will make us better as a city that I will support. And I think each one will have to be weighed separately by each and every one of us, by the mayor, who has to control the budget and ensure that we're going to be whole at the end of the day. And I think the amendments are the parts of this particular fee that separates the businesses from the citizens. That is a selling point for me. It is also a selling point that this is a requirement for everyone that lives in the state of Louisiana. And also based on our population, based on the millages that we collect now to be able to support it, other people are doing it. It's just not as obvious. So, you know, as we move forward, since we're talking about this particular fee, I think it is something that I will be able to support. I think the businesses at the end of the day will understand that this will make us better, the fire department better, the response time better for the citizens. It will make us as citizens better to improve our fire ratings. I always get it confused if it's 1 or 3 that makes us better, and Ms. Foshe have to always help me. But one is better, right? So if we're somewhere in the middle, I think eventually for all of us, the savings will be for everyone if we move up in a case. So, but again, you know, I appreciate you guys with your concerns to always keep us aware of what we're doing, and we should be able to look at each one differently to ensure we're just not doing it just to be doing it. And because the perception for a lot of people is we are just trying to, you know, just get some money. So the conversation has to be had. We appreciate the conversation, and we look forward to, you know, making the city of Kenner better as always, and doing the things that I think we should do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman McKinney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to ask the fire chief, a couple of questions.
Means 2?
Yes, just 2 questions.
Okay.
So I know you mentioned that with the current, you have 1 inspector. You're required to reach out to all the businesses, right? So what is the percentage currently now with the one inspector of businesses in the city of Kenner that you've reached out to, or, you know, inspected properly in the past year, or, you know?
Probably 5 to 10%.
5 to 10%. So 90% of businesses have not been inspected at this point.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Which is to me illustrates the great need for this, to do this, so we can actually be successful and move forward and do what the fire department is one of the things that they're supposed to be doing. So, and then what is the number of Kenner businesses with occupational licenses?
Roughly, my database, we're roughly around 2,300 businesses.
Okay, so 90% of 2,300 is what we're missing.
Roughly, yes.
Okay. I think this is definitely shows that this is something that's greatly needed to get started, and I believe that this is something that I support and think that's going to help fire prevention. So thank you.
Thanks.
Councilman Brennan.
Thank you, Council Chair. So, Chief, just to reiterate again what we discussed earlier, this is just another step that the city is taking, this with the SAFER grant and hire additional, in the ability to be able to hire additional firefighters. This inspection process, plus other changes we're hoping to do at some point, will only help us to get to hopefully a protection class 1.
Yes, that's our goal, and these are the steps that we're moving forward to attain that goal.
And
these are things that we should have been doing, and we're trying to get there.
And as it was said earlier, that will not only affect the businesses and help businesses, more importantly, it'll help every homeowner with their insurance rates. So, okay, thank you, Chief, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. I see no other questions, but at this point, just to, based on the legislation as it was initially presented and based on feedback that we have received, I do have an amendment or 2 amendments that I would like to introduce, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. First amendment would be to amend Section 8-19A as follows. Pursuant to LARS 40:1563, all structures except 1 and 2 family dwellings and movables shall be inspected annually by the Fire Prevention Division of the Fire Department for the purpose of reducing or eliminating fire hazards. The fees for commercial uses shall be $30 for the first location to be collected with occupational license or billed at the time of inspection for any commercial use without an occupational license. Any additional commercial locations shall be billed at the time of the inspection at the rate of $30 per location, unless subject to an exception under Section 8-19D. All residential inspections shall be billed at the time of inspection at the rate of $30 per building.
Motion by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilman Hayes for the amendment as read. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. I have one more amendment. The amendment would be Section 8-19D would read as follows. Section D, exceptions to fee charges. No fees shall be charged to the following. Number 1 would be premises owned and operated by any governmental entity. Number 2, all private residences consisting of 4 or less units. Item 3 would be proof of fire marshal inspection or state-certified third-party inspection within prior 12 months will be accepted in lieu of paying $30.
Motion by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilman Hayes for the second amendment as read. Any discussion? Seeing none, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Any final discussion on the motion as amended? Seeing none, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 10 is opening of bids. We have none. Item 11 is reclassification of zoning for final passage. We have none. Item 12 is other ordinances for final passage. We have none. Item 13 is resolutions and motions by council members. Item 13A is a resolution calling a public hearing to determine whether the structures located at 411 Moray Street, Kenner, Louisiana, shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Hayes. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 13B is a resolution accepting and adopting the System Survey and Compliance Questionnaire from the Legislative Auditor of the State of Louisiana.
Motion by Councilwoman McKinney, seconded by Councilmember Brannigan. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 14 is items removed from the consent agenda. We have none. Item 15 is acceptance of contracts and similar matters approved by the mayor. Item 15A is summary ordinance number 12,457, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Casco Industries Incorporated to furnish various equipment for fire vehicles in accordance with seal bid number 18-6445 and an amount not to exceed $82,760.77 for the Kenner Fire Department.
Motion by Councilmember Brennan, seconded by Councilwoman McKinney. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15B is summary ordinance number 12,458, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Bonaventure Incorporated to purchase various round hydrant markers for city fire hydrants in accordance with seal bid number 18-6448 and an amount not to exceed $18,928.40 for the Kenner Fire Department.
Motion by Councilman Segura, seconded by Councilman Brennan. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 15C is a resolution approving change order number 2 to the agreement with Barrier Construction Company, LLC, dated March 26, 2018, regarding the reconstruction of Hollanday Street from Airline Drive to the railroad tracks, decreasing the contract amount by $2,890, resulting in a total contract amount of $393,462.80 for the Department of Public Works.
Motion by Councilman Carroll, seconded by Councilman Wilmot. Seeing no discussion, council members, please vote.
Motion passes 7-0. Item 16 is ordinances and resolutions in summary for first reading. Item 16A is an ordinance accepting the permitted donation of 18 works of art currently on loan from Henry and Pat Shane. Item 16B is an ordinance accepting a temporary construction servitude from the New Orleans Aviation Board for improvements below several roads at the Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport, Kenner Public Works project number PW-2018-12-SW, Hanson City Sewer Lift Station improvements for LS 4103 Firehouse Road Sewer Force Main Replacement Construction. Item 16C is an ordinance amending Section 15-23 of the Kenner Code of Ordinances of the City of Kenner entitled Specific Traffic Controls Signs Established by adding thereto no truck road signs on Driftwood Boulevard at its intersection with West Esplanade Avenue and Driftwood Boulevard at its intersection with Williams Boulevard, denoting Driftwood Boulevard as a no truck road. Item 16D is an ordinance accepting the responsive bid received from Southern Trailer Works in an amount not to exceed $10,478 for the purchase of one gooseneck trailer in accordance with telephone bid number T18-2635 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16E is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from American AVL to furnish a TriCaster Mini Advanced HD-4 W/SDI bundle in accordance with telephone bid number T18-2632 in the amount of $10,962 for the Department of KTV. Item 16F is an ordinance approving an agreement with Principal Engineering Incorporated to provide engineering services associated with the design and construction administration of waste transfer facility in an amount not to exceed $161,042.50 for the Department of Public Works. Item 16G is an ordinance authorizing the City of Kenner to enter into an intergovernmental endeavor agreement between the State of Louisiana through the Department of Transportation and Development for the provision of a functional replacement facility for the Kenner Fire Department. Item 16H is an ordinance accepting the lowest responsive bid received from Casco Industries Incorporated in the amount of $7,045 for the purchase of an American ADFG 74 gear drying cabinet in accordance with telephone bid number T18-2625 for the Kenner Fire Department. Item 16I is an ordinance approving amendment number 1 to the agreement with DuPlanche, Ratman, Hogan, and Mayer, LLP, to provide audit services in accordance with Section 2.28 of the City of Kenner Home Rule Charter. Item 17 is reports from the council and our special committees.
Have none? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd just like to address some of the comments that the mayor alluded to earlier on in his comments to everyone as it relates to the city of Kenner and particularly the Christmas season that we are in, and for all the citizens of Kenner, all the businesses who I think are catching hold of this, catching the fire to be able to bring the joy into our lives. The mayor said that, you know, a lot of things that I'm doing, but listen, no one could do this by themselves. It takes the support of himself, his administration, and the council to be able to do it. Now, we live in a city that's in the middle of a lake and a river, so obviously people have challenges as far as logistics and to be able to get there. I think the conversations with the mayor and I and the administration when it was decided to have the skating ring and different things in North Kenner, I said before on an interview that it wasn't a hard push for he and I to understand that to be able to offer to both ends of our city to people on 2 different nights. And I think the plan that we came up with is fantastic. You know, it takes the mayor, the administration, like I said, the council, and one of the things that we're doing tonight in Rivertown and on every Thursday will showcase, or not so much showcase, but bring people from different groups to come out and to share the spirit that we want to have. And one of the things that's always an easy sell for people when they hear about the city of Kenner or they hear about things going on either in South Kenner or North Kenner is they never ask about safety. They never say, we are afraid to come because of safety, or we are concerned about this or that. That never comes up. Either they're going to come because they want to support it and they are safe to bring their children, particularly in both areas. Children can come on the area. It's blocked off where they can enjoy the festivities, get a bite to eat, and to enjoy the entertainment. So, you know, I take pride in that, to know that people have that confidence in the fire department, the police department, the administration, the council, that they trust their most highest priority, their highest, whatever they own, their family, to be able to come to the city of Kenner. And all of these accolades that we are receiving from other people, it's a testament to that, because you just don't, you know, you don't get an award for what you ask for, is what you give back. And I think the Christmas Village in North Kenner, the Christmas Village in South Kenner shows the cooperation that we all have working together to ensure that, you know, we are whole all over. Yes, obviously we have different areas that we can sometimes be territorial, but I think at the end of the day, when it's best for the city, we come together with that. So I would like to thank the mayor, the administration, the council, the police department, and last but not least, I would like to thank the General Services Department that has done a fantastic, if you haven't been there, please ride through tonight. Like the mayor said, you don't have to get out your car, just ride through. They have done a fantastic job in illuminating and decorating and putting up fixtures to ensure that even if you're a little Grinch or, you know, or the green guy, whatever his name is, Grinch and Scrooge, you will feel something about it, and it looks fantastic. And I think for the next 25 days or so, you will enjoy it. And to be able to go out there on maybe not Thursdays, but other nights, just to be able to walk around with your family. So I wanted to say that. I wanted to make sure everybody understand this is a team effort, and I look forward to seeing you guys, if not tonight, other nights in both areas. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Madam?
Item 18 is new business. We have none. Item 19 is unfinished business and motions to reconsider or remove from a tabled position. We have none. Item 20 is persons wishing to address the council on special subject matters.
Al Morella.
Al Morella, 4260 East Loyola Drive, 5th District, 46 years. I want to talk about 6 years ago, the then council and the then administration adopted that 2030 plan, capital improvements to the city of Kenner. City was strapped with $37 million in bond debt. I got a copy of it. I'm going over it the other day. A lot of those capital improvement projects I don't see that's been done. And like I said, it's been about 6 years. I'd like to get a little clarification, a little update. Is the money there? If it's not, could this issue with the speed cameras be linked to that in some kind of way? Get some clarification. I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm just merely asking the question and wanting to get some clarification on and an update. Second item on the agenda, I want to talk about an article in the Times-Picayune on November 28th. And I'm not speaking on behalf of the mayor. I'm speaking on behalf of the citizens of Kenner, as well as myself. Jarvis DeBerry, columnist for the Times-Picayune, had the nerve to mock our city over our mascot and over the memo issue a few months back. I want to say this to Mr. DeBerry. First of all, he's in no position to be mocking the city of Kenner or any other city in this state when his city is a war zone. Our police chief didn't have to get on the phone with the governor and beg to send state troopers into the city of Kenner because our police department couldn't handle an out-of-control crime problem. Mr. DeBerry has to take a look at that war zone he calls the city of New Orleans before he criticizes anything. But it's expected of someone who constantly has a divisive narrative. And I'll challenge him to come to this council meeting and debate me on this issue anytime he wants, or anytime, anywhere, any public place. Now, I want to talk about the recent ratings at Chateau Estates Elementary. Chateau Estates Elementary School has been voted as the finest elementary school in Jefferson Parish. Their performance rating is 87.8%, and they got a letter grade of a B. And I think we need to get the faculty, we need to get some of the students down here, and we need to issue them a proclamation for a job well done. And I say this to the people who didn't want that school years ago, who now kids attend that school. It caused the overcrowding problem back in the day. And the people who supported it had to move their kids out to Roosevelt to relieve the overcrowding. They didn't want that school. Now, since it's got such a nice rating, a lot of them took their kids out of private school and put them in there. One other thing, can I close it real quick, Councilman Segura? I'd like to keep ex-Governor Kathleen Blanco in our prayers. She's been diagnosed with a very serious cancer, spread throughout her whole body, and I'd like to keep her in our prayers. And one more thing, Tony Christiana, number 2 man with the Gretna Police Department, who just recently passed away. Let's keep the Christiana family in our prayers as well, and I extend my condolences to his family. Anybody got any comments, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Penny Frame.
Good evening. My name is Penny Frame. I live at 2811 Tupelo Street, Kenner. That's in Susan Park. I just want to tell you that I'm a veteran of the Kenner Fire Department. I retired from them with as a district chief with 20 years of service. I'd like to address the mayor and the council concerning the future location of Fire Station 38, which is currently at 400 Veterans Highway. As all of you know, Kenner is cut in half by Interstate 10 with only 2 crossings to go north to south. One of those crossings being Loyola Drive, where the fire station is currently located. In the event that Loyola Drive passage would become blocked by an incident, an overturned truck, a large accident, it would greatly delay the response time for the fire department regarding responding to the south side of Interstate 10. In fact, a few years ago, there was an incident. A house that was being moved got wedged underneath that bridge, and it had all southbound traffic on Loyola at a standstill. Odd, but true. The Veterans Corridor from Interstate 10 all the way to the airport property is occupied by a lot of light industrial businesses. Businesses who house and handle chemicals, business whose use of equipment can cause injury or entrapment. There are also blocks, many blocks, of multifamily housing in that district. And some of those apartments, quite a few as a matter of fact, are apartments for special needs people, for handicap, group homes. And they're There currently is one fire station located south of the railroad tracks along Kenner Avenue, and that's the purpose of that station is to prevent trains from blocking off that portion of the city. Currently, there are 2 fire stations and 1 rescue squad on the north side of I-10, and there are 2 fire stations on the south side of I-10. Relocating Station 38 to the north of I-10 would leave only 1 station on the south side of Interstate 10, responsible for covering all of Kenner from Interstate 10 to Airline Highway, whatever call would come in the event of a traffic situation. Also, that would give North Kenner 3 fire stations and the squad unit. That would be 4 responding stations on the north side. It's quite an imbalance. Because of Kenner's growth in the last few years, perhaps we need to consider an additional fire station, not simply relocating the one to make room for the new roads. Should the station be moved to North Kenner, homeowners and business owners in the Veterans Corridor would see an increase in their insurance rates due to a higher risk and response times, because then the nearest station would be the one by City Hall responding to the veterans area. It would be a much longer time. In case you're perhaps considering that the airport's fire station might be part of the equation, they're not designed or equipped for structural firefighting. Those trucks are loaded and ready to pump large amounts of foam onto any incident involving airplanes and fuel. They're not designed for structural firefighting. The residents and businesses of District 1 would like this council to carefully consider where they're going to relocate Station 38. Any questions?
Don't have any questions, and I'm just going to throw one quick comment, Penny. I know we've known each other a long time. I respect you, but I've also got Fire Chief telling me that he's told by Fire Rating Board it's got to go north, or else we don't get a Class 1.
Well, then the things that...
Just a comment. I'm not asking for debate.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
It doesn't change anything here.
Yeah, but the administration, I understand, is going to give you some answers.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Hi, Ms. Frayne, Deborah Foshi. I think we've spoken on the phone before regarding truck traffic on Loyola, perhaps. It's good to talk to you. So the decision to move the station obviously was not ours. That was forced upon us by a decision made prior to the time we got here. And we must place that station within the response area required to maintain our PIAL rating based upon the location of the new fire station, which will be right off of Loyola between Duke and Emerson. We actually are in line to have an improved fire rating based upon response times. Because of that particular location, and I know because you're with volunteer fire, you know that location actually covers part of St. Charles Parish. So where it is right now is not an optimum location. There are 2 on the south side, plus the rescue squad has the capacity to respond going down Williams, which is a much faster route. If you've seen the traffic studies for the airport, a fire station anywhere near where it currently is not going to be able to get out of the traffic.
I understand it needs to be
so
moved. Yeah.
Basically, none of these decisions were made in a vacuum. They're all made in consultation with fire experts and the Property Insurance Association of Louisiana. And based upon this current location, actually will improve both response times and with a PIAL reduced property insurance. So I think it's going to be better, not worse.
Response time, if there's no problem with a blockage on Loyola, because there's only 2 roads, 2 locations to cross Interstate 10 in Kenner. Should something block that one, then to loop around to the second location would greatly increase response times. That was my point, because if both roads are open and traffic is flowing and you're making all the improvements you can to improve the traffic, because I know there's going to be a lot more, that's great. But if something happens that gets closed off in emergency situations, that just makes the response time to the Veterans Corridor area so much longer.
Yes, ma'am, I understand it. And in the fact that if the Loyola got blocked, or Williams got blocked, or Veterans got blocked, or any of the streets that we have that are major that got blocked, it's going to cause a response time delay to someone. But for purposes of the majority and making sure we meet all the requirements, this is that's the only location that is within the response area that is vacant. To put it anyplace else would require us to actually take people's homes and evict them and tear their houses down, and that just did not seem like the neighborly thing to do. So,
Well, we don't want that.
No, ma'am. So we are putting it at the location, which is, and I totally understand what you're saying. Obviously, we can't plan for every emergency, but based upon what we have to work with, this is the safest and place to place the new fire station. And nobody wanted to move it. Wish we could have kept it there, but that was kind of beyond our control.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Penny. Mr. Greg Teff.
My name is Greg Taft. I live at 3720 West Loyola.
I'm sorry,
Drive.
wait, Greg, 1 second. Greg, did you have, did you have something you wanted to talk to?
Just real quick,
You didn't have a question for Penny?
It wasn't a question, I just wanted to.
Oh, okay.
I could go after Mr. Taft.
I'm sorry, okay, go ahead. No.
You're somebody. I'm just.
Well, you're somebody too. We
Nobody.
see you as much as we see each other.
What I'd like to do this evening is something a little different. There's a question about the code sweeps. And I was hoping that Mr. Muhammad could share with us the difference on how a code sweep is treated versus when somebody actually calls in to make a formal complaint. What is it? Because there seems to be some confusion that a person becomes known if we approach them, or if code approaches them, that they're the ones that ratted the neighbor out, so to speak. Where the sweeps, as I understand it, are not, but I'd rather the people hear it from Mr. Muhammad, because he's the one that knows what the guys do out there, or gals, they do, and he also knows what happens when a complaint is made, how they handle that to keep it confidential.
Excuse me, Mr. Greg, you had about another 2 minutes. Are you finished with your portion?
That's it.
Okay, well then I'm going to yield it to Mr. Muhammad, but your time will be up.
Thank you, Mr. Gregg. I saw you took up for the Code Enforcement Department on the neighbor next door the other day. I really wanted to thank you for that. I really do appreciate you appreciating what we do out there. We try to perform a sweep every Wednesday in a neighborhood. Sometimes it's by recommendation of the council members. They'll pick up the phone and call us and say, hey, look, I'd like you to take a look at this area, and we'll go out there and we'll do what we do. And I think our department is doing a wonderful job. I really respect everybody that works in that department. They're hard-working guys. They really do not get enough credit. But to go back to what you were asking, Mr. Teff, when a complaint comes in, it's an anonymous complaint. We don't ask the person who's making the complaint their name, their address, their phone number. We take the complaint down. We have somebody that specializes in just writing down complaints. They pass that complaint on to Mr. Tommy, who is the manager of that department, and he'll go out. He'll direct one of the code enforcement guys to go out and answer any questions that a neighbor might have, because we're knocking on their door, or we're concerned about what's going on in the neighborhood. But no, we don't broadcast or tell who made the complaint, because 99% of the time we don't know who's making a complaint. It's just given to us on a piece of paper to go out and address the complaint.
And like you said, now on the sweeps, what is it customary, for example, when you do a sweep, that you knock on doors?
Sometimes we'll take a specific area and we'll knock on a door just to let the neighbors know that we are in the neighborhood. A lot of times we want people to know that we're there, we're doing our job, because we get a lot of complaints that say we don't do our job because people are at work during the day. They don't see what this department does. They don't see the feet that are on the ground, the resources that are on the ground making something happen here in the city of Kenner. Look, I'm all over the state of Louisiana. do a lot of things other than work for the city of Kenner, and I could tell you, the city of Kenner is probably one of the cleanest places to live. And this code enforcement department responds so quickly, and I'm so proud of the men and women that I work with. It's amazing how clean we are in the city of Kenner. And I want to thank you again for taking up for me. I really do appreciate that. I noticed that. A matter of fact, I think of like 40 people screenshotted me what you sent me what you said the other day. So thanks again.
Well, that's why I just wanted to clarify by you so that they understand, because I think a lot of it is people don't understand. And I, for one, appreciate code enforcement because, I mean, my neighbor, you ought to see my neighbor's yard next door where their cars, because they park, and then when it rains, and those trucks, when they pull out, they gouge it. And I keep waiting for them to bust my meter, but that's beside the point. But anyway, I just wanted to, I just wanted other people to hear from you that there's confidentiality and what you guys do and why you do what you're doing. That's basically what I wanted.
Mr. Teff, there's one thing that you got to know. As the code enforcement director, I cannot make everybody happy. When I walk out the door, I'm going to make somebody mad, and it's not intentional. It's just the nature of the business. But thank you for coming out tonight and supporting us. We really appreciate you.
Mr. Teff, just one comment I want to make on a comment you made is the term ratting out. I hate that term. If you are a resident and you abide by code laws and you have another resident that's not, you have every right to call and point that out. That's what we like. I mean, that's what we need. And that's how things are corrected. So the terminology ratting out is really not appropriate. It's doing what you do and have a right to do.
But understand that your constituents and residents of Kenner, that's kind of how they perceive that they have to tell on their neighbor. And you know, when I was in school, we called it ratting them out. But they have to tell on their neighbor when they're not doing something right.
And people call the police department all hours of the day and night to report crime.
I understand that, but, you know, the problem is you're trying to get along with your neighbors. That's number one. But number two, I cannot tell you how many times I have come close, and I'm too old for this, to fist fighting, because I nicely go up to them and say, you know, you shouldn't be doing this, and they nicely, politely tell me if I don't leave, they're going to pound my face in the pavement or something.
The best thing to do is nicely leave and call either code or the police department.
Well, again, I think that people, if you're asking people to report, the people like to report anonymously. They don't want to report.
Well, I heard James say they do.
Because they're trying to get along with their neighbors. They're not trying to be the guy. I mean, how many meetings would you go to, like a civic association meeting, where you got someone that constantly gives everybody a hard time, and what do?
All right.
They come after him. Okay. Well, the same thing will happen if people find out, hey, this person is telling on me.
Okay.
Well,
We got your point. Thank you.
Out and say, you're telling on me.
Okay. I understand. Thank you.
Me out. That's all I'm saying. And it's just a point of reality that people don't want to get into confrontation. Now, me,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Until it gets to the fist fight, I'm fine. Once it gets to that point, I'm ready to leave.
We're about ready to get in a fist fight right now.
Thank you.
Councilman Cow.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I promise when we want to get to that stage. I just wanted to thank Mr. and Mrs. Frame for their service to the city of Kenner, the fire department, and their ongoing support for it, and also for a great District 1 resident and for many years. And thank you for coming tonight addressing it, because not only yourself, I see Pastor Brown here, and a number of the Veteran Heights and Susan Park residents that obviously are concerned about the fire situation. And, you know, this is the city of New Orleans, the state of Louisiana. There's $1 billion structure that's getting built. I think all the things that we are trying to do, all the things the state they're trying to do, I think there's still some things evolving to help with traffic, to help with the fire situation. I think what we see today will eventually evolve into something more. You mentioned the fact about an additional fire station. You mentioned the fact about the cities, the airport not being manned or not being, I don't want to say competent, not being, fit to be able to address certain fires. I think that may be something to look at, to be able to have that conversation with the mayor of New Orleans to ensure that they may not be as supportive as the city's fire department, but increase it to a level, well, it can do more. It may come to a point, depending on how things evolve, to build another station. So those are great ideas. It is something that will probably exceed our term here on the council, but you will be living there for many years, and it's something to always be conscious of and to always bring up. And I think it's good questions, and as we meet with different people, to be able to always point this out. And as things evolve and happen, I think it brings us closer to making it better. So, again, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Pastor Jackie Brown Cockerham.
Good evening. Pastor Jackie Brown Cockerham, 2610 Decatur Street, Apartment A. I have concerns also about the fire station. Thank you, Ms. Penny. Because right now, and at the time that fire station is moved, we're going to be naked in Veterans Heights and in Susan Park. That's not a good feeling. And hopefully, something will be worked out. I know what you're saying about the state, but I also know that there are situations and there are probably some options that you can look at and try to resolve this, because you have two large subdivisions that will have no fire protection, basically when the traffic is bad, and the traffic is bad already. I'm a part of it. I understand, according to the maps that I've looked at, that Bessemer Street will be blocked off at Veterans Boulevard, where we used to be able to turn into the area where the police station is. We'd have to go up a block or two just to get to the other side of Veterans Boulevard. That's not going to be good, because there's congestion now, so we won't have anywhere to go. Or any protection. So our safety and accessibility would be jeopardized. And I really pray that you all would try to look at that and let somebody know that that's not good for us as a whole in that neighborhood. Accolades to you too again, Mr. Muhammad. You're doing a great job. I've been touring the area, so thank you very much. The other thing is the SafeWise information that came out with Forbes in the city of Kenner. And yes, Kenner is doing some great things. I know that that survey was done for up until 2016. I want to know what is going on now as far as the EPA, environmental controls or whatever. I don't know all of the terminology that's used, but I'm dealing a lot with the pollution, and it's right in my front door. So I would like to know when the next inspection for EPA is coming up, because of the pollutants that are in the air. The other thing is on the safety of Kenner. I would love to say that that is fantastic, but after losing my nephew, Jaron Brown, to a senseless murder by police officers, it's just hard for me to say that. Because I can recall in 2015 that a young white man with guns, with weapons, came upon Kenner, and they sent a robot in to get him. But Jaron laid in his parents' yard from gunshot wounds and was told that he was fine, that he was alive, but he was actually dead when they left the yard. So I'm not feeling good about that. You're going to protect the citizens, protect all of them, and give them the same respect no matter the color. He didn't have any weapons.
Pastor, would you like more time because you are out of time?
No, I'm okay. I just need some things addressed about the EPA.
We'll look into that. I'm not sure of any regular EPA inspections, but we'll get some information and try to get it back to you if we can find something on that, because it's not like a discussion we just had on the fire inspections, which must be done annually by our fire department. We're not particularly aware of the EPA doing any specific pollution inspections, but
The DEQ is monitoring the air quality related to the landfill. Now, that's
Right.
not in Kenner, but obviously the air comes over here. So that would really be the Baton Rouge Department of Environmental Quality, and they would not necessarily let us know, Ms. Jackie, when they were coming, but they do have a public contact number. I'll get that for you and send that to you, okay?
Okay. And the other one was about the fire station. Do they know yet where in North Kenner? Because we don't
Yes.
need it 5 or 10 miles from us.
We pretty much have said it will be between Clemson and Emerson, just to the west of Loyola, which is behind the old Crystal Burger building, or
Okay, because we have
Sir,
a lot of empty lots along Veterans Boulevard also, and in
yeah.
that
Well, we
section.
had we've been there. We know that we had land that we owned. We were going to put it on, and as we said, we were told we cannot do it there to meet the fire standing ratings to get to the highest rating of #1 to lower insurance and all sorts of things. So we hear you, but we're told by these other more proficient experts on placement of fire stations that it had to go north, not east.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Last night.
Ms. Shannon Hardin?
Hi.
Name and address, please.
Arden from 106 Kilgore Place.
Thank you.
I'd first like to start off by saying thank you to the council and thank you to the mayor's office for being here tonight. I had originally emailed the mayor's office and my councilman, Mr. Brennan, regarding an issue, but I haven't received a response, so I'd like to go ahead and address that matter with you all today. The email goes as follows. Dear Mayor Zahn, this morning at about 7:55, code enforcement aggressively and relentlessly knocked on my door. I would like to note that it was more of a violent hammering and pounding than a knock. He repeatedly and heavily banged on the door until someone answered. So I opened the door to find Mr. James Muhammad and what appeared to be the entire code enforcement department standing in my front lawn. Mr. Muhammad informed me that a code enforcement sweep is being conducted and asked if I had any complaints. I informed him of several complaints regarding neighboring properties and asked him the reason for knocking on my door. He informed me that they knock on everyone's door during a sweep. However, code enforcement did not knock on any other doors. After speaking with several neighbors, it was clear that my door was the only one which was knocked on, and other neighbors were not notified or made aware of the sweep in the same way that I was. This incident with code enforcement was unwarranted, and upon the conclusion of the sweep, our resident was not cited for any violations, nor has it ever been under our residency. I would like to note that making a scene in our yard draws attention to us, and not only puts our relationship with our neighbors at risk, it puts the confidentiality of our code enforcement requests at risk, and it puts my family at risk. And If I have a code enforcement complaint, I'm very much aware of the resources available in which to do so. And I don't need code enforcement to knock on my door to ask me, because quite frankly, we did have an issue with our neighbor who did reach out to us after and put that situation at risk. So I would like to inquire about the standard procedures regarding code enforcement sweeps. And I would like to know whether or not it is standard practice for code enforcement officers to aggressively approach residents in this manner.
You have 45 seconds left if you have anything else, and then
I would just like to note that it did draw attention to us. Several neighbors asked about it, and it was not confidential. Our confidentiality was breached because of this incident and because of the actions of the department. Their whole department was in my yard. All the trucks were in our yard. Several neighbors had to come outside and asked us and texted us, several, and put us at risk. I have to live next to these people, and now it's out in the open. So my question is, when a code enforcement sweep is being conducted, is it standard procedure for the department to knock on the door of every single residence? Is that the standard procedure?
okay, your time is now up, so yeah, I'll see if the administration wants to respond.
Thank you, President.
I'm going to let Mr. James Mohammed give the standard procedure, but if she could just answer some questions, because we're kind of confused over here.
Okay.
You didn't receive a violation, did you?
No, I did not.
So what, and I know this is going to sound terrible the way I'm going to say it, but there's no other way to say it. What's the issue?
There was a code enforcement issue with one of our neighbors who has their cars constantly parked in their yard. So we did file a report about it. Okay. And the neighbor created a loophole where they put pavers down in the yard, which doesn't look great and doesn't increase our property value. So now, which was a recommendation by the department as well. So now we have to live next to that, seeing that every day, which brings, if we want to sell the house or whatever it may be, we have to not only see that every day, but it affects the value of our home.
So you were concerned that the neighbor thought that code enforcement was responding to your complaint against the neighbor.
Right. That neighbor reached out.
That neighbor reached out to
us.
To you to complain? To you?
No, basically to reach out and see what was going on, because there were so many officers in my yard, the trucks were everywhere. It was just so obvious the confidentiality had been breached.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let James Mohammed actually answer what happened that day, because I'm not privy to
thank you.
What the discussions were. But I mean, I don't think code enforcement was singling you out since you didn't have any code violations.
Right, and I was wondering, since we didn't have code violations, why they would be knocking on our door. I just thought their time would be better spent and the taxpayer dollars would be better spent knocking on the doors of someone who actually has a violation.
I think, and he said it early, and I guess he's going to repeat it, and I back this up, is that they alert anyone who's home that code enforcement is in the neighborhood.
So they do knock on the door of every resident during a sweep.
If they're home, I guess, with a car, I would assume. If the car's in the driveway, I would assume code enforcement does not knock on a door that does not have one car in the driveway.
Well, there were cars of other residents home who didn't receive a knock.
Right. I'm just assuming that, but I was just trying to clear up, because over here, and I guess the council too, was a little confused on, you didn't get a violation,
right?
But they were at your door. But James, can you, Council President, do you mind?
It's your time. I'll yield to Mr. Mohammed to explain.
Unfortunately, I didn't know that she made a complaint against anybody. We were just in the neighborhood. Probably
I spoke with you on the phone previously.
Probably because, of her complaints. We were in the neighborhood alerting people, hey, we're out here doing our job that we're supposed to do. That's what we're getting paid to do our job. And we want people to know that we're in the neighborhood doing our job. No, we do not knock on everyone's door. We pick a house where somebody's home, or we think somebody's home. If there's a car in the driveway, we'll say, hey, look, we're in the neighborhood. We're performing a code sweep. Is there anything we should be alerted to while we're in this neighborhood that maybe we can't see from the front yard, because we don't have access to people's backyards? There might be something going on in the backyard, just like the fire that happened on Alabama. We didn't know that there was a canopy back there. Had we known about that canopy, those apartments would still be there. If somebody would have stepped up to the plate and made a phone call to code enforcement.
Right.
But no, we didn't. We're not aggressively going after you. And I can assure you, there's nobody in my department that's wants to be out there on 7 o'clock in the morning doing a code sweep.
Right.
But that's what we're paid to do, and
Right.
we're going to do the best job we can.
And I really
and
appreciate
again, the city of Kenner is the cleanest city to live in. Maybe you don't know that. Maybe you should walk the streets of some other surrounding cities and see what's going on. But we are very clean here in the city
And
of
I
Kenner,
appreciate
and
the
we
work
have
you
the
do.
fastest response time I've ever seen of any department. We make it
Thank you.
happen, and I'm very proud to say that.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Muhammad. I would like to say that I did speak with you on the phone prior to this incident, and you were very much aware of the situation between me and my neighbor, and you had spoken with me about it, and you knew.
Unfortunately, ma'am, I talk to probably 150 people a day, and I don't remember speaking to you. And anybody that works with me will tell you, I speak to a lot of people every day. I write things down. If I need a code sweep, if a councilman calls me or a constituent calls me, I will perform a code sweep in that area the next code sweep day.
Thank you.
And I know I don't remember you calling me. I don't remember talking to you. And I don't regret knocking at your door, man, because we are doing our job, and we're going to continue to do our job. I think the mayor's going to back me in this, whether you like it or not. We're out there to do our job, and we're going to do it.
Well, regardless of whether the mayor backs you or not, you did put our home at risk. Thank you.
Mr. Johnny Alexander?
Johnny Alexander, 2623 Aberdeen Street. Is Councilman Carroll gone?
Apparently,
Does he know more
had to
about
leave.
what's going on with me? And I've been reporting about the no trucks on Aberdeen. I know for years with the speeding trucks, and it's really a big problem more and more. It's not the airport construction. They shut down at 4 o'clock. Our problems start after 4 o'clock in the evening, all through the night. The truck that's coming in that's housed back there. And I reported to the councilman, and he was supposed to call the code enforcement to report it to them or something. It's just being a big problem. We need no truck signs from Aberdeen and Veterans up to where Arrow Fence is at. Because they have trucks with chemicals coming through there, carrying aircraft fuel to the airport, and then they come back out at 27, and they got to make that turn. They're all on the sidewalks and all the sidewalk and grass is tore up. It's a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know what it's going to take for y'all to put no truck signs up there. And our problems start at nighttime. It's not the airport construction trucks. It's trucks that's housed back there at night. Right. I've been reporting this for years. And they're speeding through all the time. I got videos on my phone. I submitted it to the councilman. I got videos now. I can show you all through the night they're coming through, 10, 11, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, flying from Veterans going in the back. This is 7 days a week. And the airport, the truck that bring the aircraft fuel, is seven days a week he comes, especially on Saturday and Sunday morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, he coming through there. And it's not right for him to come to the neighborhood when he should go through the truck route. We got to go through this every daggone week. So I hope y'all can do something to consider that putting no truck signs on Aberdeen is really a big problem. Like I said, it's not the airport construction. It's trucks that are housed back there. There's several little companies. That's all it is we're having a problem with. And I've been coming to the council for years about this. Councilman Carroll knows. So hopefully something can be done.
We'll make sure he sees this portion of the comment from you. And
I went to his office this evening, let him know I was coming here. And how he left before I talked, I don't understand. He knew I was coming here. I went to his office this evening.
I understand. I would reach out for you.
Really, and there's a speedway too. And every evening, every morning, it's a speedway. So when y'all do put the cameras for the cars, please put one on Aberdeen, please.
Okay.
I'm voting for that.
You'd like a speed trailer on Aberdeen, then? Yes, sir.
They need one, believe me. It started at 5:30 every morning to 6 o'clock in the evening, the cars, and from 5 in the evening to night, all night with the trucks. So
sure, but let me just. You still have 30 seconds, so I don't want to interrupt your time, though. Do you have anything else?
We just need help. That's all. We can't sleep at night, and it's really ridiculous. And I've been reporting this for years. Years I've been coming here. Same problem.
Okay. No offense, I just don't recall seeing you here.
I've been several times. I've been there for years. Trust me, I have. Believe me, Mr. Councilman, no. He know.
Probably talking to your councilman, I agree, and I appreciate that. But I'm just going to offer that I'm sure you have. Anytime there's trucks are speeding at night, call the police department. Well,
by the time they come, they're gone. By the time
I got you.
They sit there, yeah, they're going to slow down with the truck.
So the clear answer, though, would be to put a speed trailer there.
Again. They don't do no good.
Okay. Well, I understand your point that, yeah, it takes time for the police to get there, so we'll explore putting a speed trailer there if that gets approved. Sure, Councilman Whitmore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to see if you can remain after the meeting, just a few more minutes, and if I can get your contact information from you, and I'd like to relay that to Councilman Carroll and myself, and we'll see if we can do something to help you. We'll do what we can. And Mr. Councilman Carroll, I think he had to leave just a few minutes before, but he has a pressing event in his district. So anyway, thank you for coming, and I'm going to talk to you after the meeting if you can wait. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Richard Brown?
Richard Brown, 824 Sessions Lane, Kenner. Before I get started, wanted to say, Mr. Chairman, there were some people that came in late. I think one or two of those also want to speak, but the sign-in sheet had already been taken up. I think my name may be the last one on there, so maybe they can just come up after me. And I also want to express concerns about the location of the proposed new fire station. I understand the concern about the Rating Bureau, but it seems to make much more sense to put that fire station where we have the Kenner Police Complex, where we already own a big chunk of land that's just about 3 blocks from the current fire station. But I'm here to speak about the issue of the speed cameras that's to come up at the next council meeting. And I've discussed some of this with some of you individually. Some of these comments I might have made at the last meeting. And so if I'm repeating some things I've said to some of you, I apologize. First off, the public does not want these cameras. The citizens of Kenner don't want them. Polls and public referendums have shown that
the guy before you said he did, Richard.
Maybe he does, but I tell you,
just being
in fact, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about what the people want. Just a couple of weeks ago, when this proposal first became public, there was a poll conducted on the We're from Kennerborough Facebook page that has about 8,000 members, most of whom live in Kenner. Now, there was a big discussion about the cameras, pro and con, but they conducted a formal poll, unbiased. They didn't try to persuade people one way or the other. The question was very simple. Do you favor or oppose the use of speed cameras in Kenner? The last time I checked, the vote was approximately 500 to 20. 500 people did not want speed cameras anywhere under any circumstances. Only 20 people wanted them, and of those 20, only 10 of them wanted them only in school zones. So that poll, for what it's worth, and it's mostly Kenner residents taking it, the citizens were overwhelmingly opposed to it. A few days ago, Council Chairman Mike Segura was on WWL Radio. They conducted an online poll that lasted, I think, about 30 minutes while he was on. I missed that show. I listened to the podcast of it. But during the poll that WWL Radio took during that program, the results from what the announcer kept saying was about 2 to 1 opposed to the speed cameras. About 65% or 66% were opposed to them, 1/3 favored them. And though that poll represents a similar formal official poll that was taken in New Orleans of New Orleans residents. Whenever there is a referendum in the country over speed cameras, the speed cameras fail by an overwhelming majority. And the one time there's been a public referendum in Louisiana, it was in Sulphur, Louisiana. That was over, I think, red light cameras. The city council in Sulphur voted to put in cameras. Their city charter has a revision for citizens to get something on the ballot. The citizens got the necessary signatures. It went to a vote of the public. The public voted by a vote of 86% to 14% to get rid of the cameras. They didn't want them. That's what happens all over the country when you put this to a vote.
All right, Brown, your time's up, but I'll give you a leniency to finish another sentence.
Can you give me a second just to see if there was another? No, I think I've talked to some of you already. I will be talking to the rest of you more. I've got a lot of research on this. There's no evidence the speed cameras are effective. I do want to make one comment that I can say in just a few seconds about school zones. People say, oh, I'm okay with it in school zones. I'm not. There are just as many problems with them in school zones as elsewhere. In fact, maybe more problems. It seems most of the complaints you hear about speed cameras are the cameras that are in school zones, that are operated improperly, that are operated when school's not in session, or just different problems. I think you hear more complaints about cameras in school zones than you do the cameras in other places. But I know my time is up. I'll stop now, and I'll be talking to the rest of you later. And Mr. Segur, I did check my calendar, and I am able to meet with you on Monday.
Thank you.
Wait, Council President, Mr. Brown, can you just wait for me?
Sure.
Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
Mr. Brown, I've been keeping up on you on Facebook, and a few people have also sent me some things. You've made a comment recently on the cameras again, but directed it mostly toward the chief and myself. And I sent you a text 2 days ago asking you what it was. There's some proof that you have that I have asked this council and this chief to do this? Because that was your words on Facebook. And I sent you a text saying I couldn't wait to hear about the...
No, Mr. Mayor, I have not said you asked anybody to do this. In fact, I don't think I've gotten a text from you in several days.
Okay.
You and I do text frequently, and you respond to my text better than anybody else I know.
I appreciate that, but I'm just trying to clear it up for the people that have viewed Facebook, maybe these 800 people or 500 people out of 8,000, which that's probably not good numbers right there. But you made a comment about proof that there is a suggestion by me or this administration on these speed cameras? That's
Mr. Mayor, no. Somebody's mischaracterizing something I said. No. What I have said, and I was not going to get into this tonight, but what I have said is that when you were running for mayor...
You said that too. You said that
and
too.
you wanted to have the meeting with the officers of Citizens for Better Kenner. We had a meeting.
Right. We've been through that last council.
Automated traffic cameras
Right.
was one of our main items of discussion.
Right.
And we went over not just red light cameras, but all automated traffic cameras, and you agreed you would oppose any movement to bring them to Kenner.
That's in your text.
And that's
on
what I said.
Facebook.
And
Right.
that's what you told
But there's proof, supposedly, that this administration is behind this with our chief and this council. So, look, I'll be glad to look at the Facebook post and show you after the council meeting, and we can take this up at the next council meeting, because I'm just trying to clear up the lie here that this administration is behind speeding cameras. This is proposed by the chief, decided by either 4 or 7 council people, whether or not we get this. So I'm just trying to clear up for the general public where this proof, and I use the term loosely, where it's coming from.
Mr. Mayor, I've never said it came from you.
Okay.
But this, you have said this is
Well,
a
look,
council issue.
I'll show you the Facebook
Mr. Mayor, it is a city issue. It's not just a council issue. It's an issue that
I didn't
affects
blame
the
the council.
city
I'm
of
just saying
Kenner.
that this administration has asked for nothing. This administration is sitting back waiting to see what's going to happen.
I don't think I've said that. If I said that you have asked for it, I apologize for
That's
that.
it.
I'll
That's
check.
all I
I'll be
need.
happy
That's-
to withdraw it.
And I appreciate that, because that's what I need on camera here on the record, so it undoes what's on Facebook.
Right.
Thank you. And if you didn't get the text, I apologize. I'll resend it to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Someone else who had a question?
Nope, no question.
Thank you.
That you said there was 2, some individuals that, I see the 3 people that came in late. Did y'all want to speak? I did. All right, just give me slowly your name and address, since it's not down here. I got to write it.
My name is Daniel Hayes. My current address is 405 Bengal Road, right outside of Kenner, but I closed last Thursday on a property in Kenner, 215 Santani Road. I've been an anti-traffic enforcement camera activist for a number of years, and this is an issue that concerns me greatly that Kenner is considering this. I will echo what Mr. Brown stated. There is large amounts of evidence that indicate that traffic enforcement cameras do not increase safety, and some evidence that strongly indicates that they decrease driving safety. So I would encourage the council to vote it down, but if the council does not vote it down, I would encourage the mayor to do like we encouraged the mayor of Harahan to do when their council brought a traffic enforcement bill and veto it. I would like the mayor to go on the record and state if he would do that or not, since he's concerned about the record.
You have 2 minutes and 14 seconds still of your time. Continue.
If the mayor would like to answer that.
The record I was concerned about was my reputation on whether or not there was proof that I was behind these speeding cameras. It's proposed by the chief, and it's up to this council, and we will work with what comes out of this council. I'm not saying what's going to happen. We don't even know where this is going to go on the 21st. So don't make this another issue like Mr. Brown, but he just clarified it. I appreciate that. Don't try to make this an administration issue when this is a city issue that that is being explored right now, and the administration's waiting to see where it goes. That's my answer.
Well, so it's my understanding that the mayor can veto things that the council passes. So we will see where that goes. But I would strongly, strongly, strongly urge this council to vote this down. It is not what a city that's forward-looking needs to be doing. Cities are getting rid of these all over the country. When it's put to the citizens, they are voted out overwhelmingly. So I would strongly urge the council to vote this down if it comes before them, when it comes before them at the next meeting. Thank you.
Would you give me your last name again, please?
What's that?
Your last name again?
Hayes, like the gentleman sitting over there.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, then that concludes that. Any other comments? Seeing none. Motion for close. Move. Meeting over.